There we go. Good. Okay.
Are you posting this on YouTube?
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm all set up. I'm going to record it so that you guys can watch it, and Charlie can watch it, and your parents can watch this. Okay, so we're going to cycle. I'm going to come back to the discussion in regards to what different level athletes deal with, instructions and stuff like that. But I want to talk about the behavioral stuff first. So everyone here is, we're all animals in a way, right? We all have inherent behavior, and there's different drivers for us, right? One of the strongest primal behaviors is fear. And fear has to do with a basic instinct of survival. So anything that, and it depends on your interpretation, what your brain interprets as fear. It could have anything to do with like falling off a cliff, right? Like heights are one thing that, from a baby, babies are afraid of not much, but babies are actually afraid of heights, right? Babies are afraid of loud noises. Babies are not afraid of snakes, spiders, dogs, cats, lions, and all that kind of stuff. Primal fear is based upon two things. So one is heights, the other one is loud noises, and there's a reason for that. Basics of fear. All the other fear in drivers usually come from things we're taught to be afraid of. Right? And a part of it could be social factors. So you want to be a part of a group, you want to belong. Because back when we were developing as humans, right, is that in societies, is that being a part of a group had to do with belonging to a society or a group for protection, for food, for basically shelter, all these primal needs. As society evolves, those fears get fed in from different areas, and all aspects of society. So it has to do with sports, it has to do with school, fear of failure has to do with, are my grades good enough? That's something that we create as a society for fear and drivers, right? But one of the things in sports that comes down to, for us, is that there's still the fear of, fear of belonging, right? So I'll give an example. We have new players on the team. Right? New players on the team, right, Patty? Right? Put your hand up, wave to your teammates, right? Elsa, Trinity, Julia, new players on the team. You guys were probably all really nervous, right? Afraid. Things would go through your heads. Am I going to belong? Am I going to be good enough, right? These are all things that are in the background because you want to belong. It's a primal instinct to want to belong and to be integrated as a part of a group. So that's a fear. Fear of performance, fear of making a mistake, right? All these things are things that we create for ourselves, right? Now, fear is one side of it. The other side is that how do you remove those fears? How do you make things come together so that, let's say, for example, a new player joins the team. How do we get rid of their fear?
Include them.
What's that?
Include them.
Include them, right?
Welcome them.
Welcome them. And on a day-to-day basis, what does that look like?
Talking to them.
Talking to them, right? Making them feel comfortable, right? So there's actions we can do in regards to including people, right? How we include it, how we take steps, and how we commit to it as, and that is a big part of when you have new teammates and integrating them to your society. This is our society now. It's our volleyball fusion society, right? And it's the same thing with other teams like Fusion Red, Fusion White, the 17U teams, the 14U teams, the 13U teams. I want you to know that this is a big society. It's a big group. There's a lot of people included in our circle of people, right? So it's a big part, and that's a big part of the community, okay? So that belonging part is how you make people become unafraid, right? Reduce the fear of joy. Another fear is that why are we afraid of, for example, speaking out, afraid of making mistakes? Anyone know? Why we're afraid of making mistakes? Take a guess.
Getting in trouble for
Getting in
making a
trouble,
mistake.
but what does that mean? Think primal. Think like security.
Embarrassment.
What's that?
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment, but why is that embarrassment?
Because you want to be good, perfect, 24/7.
Yeah, that can be something, but why?
You want
though?
others to see that you're good.
What?
You want others to see that you're good.
Yeah,
Letting yourself and your teammates down.
getting closer, but think about what we're talking about, the sense of belonging. And I tell you, there's a difference between male athletes and female athletes.
Like the team not accepting you anymore.
That's
You're
right.
making mistakes.
So getting back to the inclusion part, right, is that a big part of our behavior in regards to fear of making mistakes is this internal primal fear in regards to, I'm gonna make a mistake, my society's gonna push me out because I made those mistakes, because I let those people down. And that's internally driven, right? That's not necessarily always, it's what I mean by primal is, it's in your subconscious, it's kind of in the background of your behavior, okay? So when you don't necessarily are consciously thinking that, right? You're not thinking, oh my God, here comes the set, I'm gonna go and hit this one, and if I miss it, my teammates are gonna be so disappointed in me, I'm not gonna be a part of this group anymore. No one's thinking that as you're playing. It's more primal, it's in the background of your behavior, okay? And the more you make mistakes, the more it builds up in behind. So in regards to that aspect of it, is how do we reduce that fear? How do we reduce that inclusivity?
How do we reduce?
So let's say for example, player joins your team, they're new, they want to be a part of your group, you get into a competition, they're having a bad day. I'll use them, they're having a bad day, or they're not as experienced as some of the other players that have been there for a while. And they go up and they go back to serve and they miss the serve. And then they go back and they miss another serve. And then you can see, I mean, in essence, they're trying their best, they're doing everything they can to the best of their abilities, and they're failing to execute. And that fear is building up inside them. So how do you think, what can you do to reduce that fear?
Comfort them and give them tips on how to make their mistakes and let them, like, show them that you don't mind if they make mistakes as long as they're trying.
Yeah, and not quite. There's something simpler than that.
Motivation.
Motivation, good, but it's more getting back to, and I just want to emphasize the aspect of safety. We're not talking about safety as in physical safety, like stepping on volleyballs or having people run into you. We're talking about mental safety. We're talking about emotional safety. Is that one of the things that as teammates that you can do, it's nothing technical. It's nothing have to do with like, oh, that's okay. It's nothing like that. It's something as simple as a smile, basically making them feel comfortable in this sense from an emotional aspect. And there's different types of, and don't get me wrong, is that coaches have a big part to play with this as well. Because I know myself, as I know sometimes, it's, I always say, when you're coaches, you care about all your athletes, you care about all your players, you want to see the best for them, you can see them struggling, but even we're humans and we have this base behavior as well. I notice when I mean, you guys can all tell when when I'm frustrated, right? My shoulders slump, my facial expressions might change, right? Yeah?
You start ripping up paper.
I always rip up paper. Whether I'm happy or sad, I'm always ripping up paper. But yes, there's different types of ripping up lineups, right?
Yeah.
There's different types, right? But yeah, so even coaches, we're human as well, right? So we have those base things. But one thing that I want to tell you about behavior is that behavior is infectious. You guys agree or disagree?
Agree.
Okay. So if I sit here and I tell a story about you know, a stressful story, and I'm stressed telling that story, I guarantee you all you will be stressed. Like kind of all you are kind of stressed right now, right?
No.
No? No? Good, awesome, good, you're not supposed to. I mean, you are kind of stressed or tired or concerned. Concerned.
I'm just chill.
Chill, you're special. So, but I tell you right now, if I, just say for example, if I pointed out at Elsa and I said, Elsa, come up to the front of the room. Come on. Stand right here. Good. Turn to face your teammates and smile at every single person in the room. Katie, get your head up. Get your head up. Katie, come over here. Come over here. Come over here. Give Elsa a hug. Come on. Come give Elsa a hug. Come give Elsa a hug. Come give Elsa a hug. I know you didn't go to bed until 4 in the morning, right? So, it's really funny is that when you go back and you watch the video, this little interaction of Elsa walking to the front of the room and smiling, and Katie walking up to the front of the room and gave her a hug, all your facial expressions changed. All your body language changed. Because being, go sit down again. Thank you.
Nice hug,
Is-
Jay. Round of applause.
Right? So behavior is infectious, right? And these little smiles, these little things, one person can do something goofy to release tension and bring joy to an otherwise semi-serious kind of talk about behavior. It's boring, but it's actually real and true. It's the same thing with stress, right? So stress, we talk about stress and stress management. We talked about breathing techniques, box breathing, and focusing on technical aspects of the game. All those little tricks and tips that I give you guys has to do with trying to not eliminate stress. The stressors are still going to be there. You know, there's still the stresses of execution, there's still the stresses of competition. But what it does is it just kind of lowers your stress levels down. Because we also, remember I talked about primal behavior and fear and all that kind of stuff? Is it's all driven by a chemical called cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone, and it actually, if you have one person stressed, you actually pass that stress on to others. The more stressed you are, it builds up, the people around you build it up, that cortisol gets released into your environment, and the stress levels increase. But the great thing is a smile, a laugh, a hug releases a different type of hormone.
I forget what it's called. but-
Dopamine,
Yeah, it's
oxytocin,
Yeah, I
there's
watched-
other endorphins, there's all kinds of other chemicals that get released with positive behavior. So oxytocin is one of the ones that involves safety, right? So that's a part of the one where the hug that you came over and you gave Elsa actually released oxytocin between you two, right, to make you feel safe around one another. Dopamine was the ones they used for the power of both good and evil. Dopamine was developed a long time ago when we used to be hunters and gatherers, roaming the world looking for food. And dopamine was a way of allowing those hunter-gatherers while they were traveling through the woods to keep them going. So they would notice a footprint of an animal. They would get a dopamine release to give them energy, to give them a little bit more energy to continue on their search for food. They would spot an animal, a bigger release of dopamine to keep them moving. So these these journeys of hunter-gatherers when we were a long time ago, basically we developed these chemical responses to help us move forward, because it gives us that little jolt of happiness and excitement that we're getting closer to our goal. When you finally get to your goal, that's when you get the endorphin release. That's big joy. That's like a hard grind. We've been working really hard for this, and now we've achieved it. So what do you think? So let's put this into competitive athlete context. Dopamine release is I'm in practice or I'm in a game, and I make my serve. I hit my target. I made a good hit. You know, that's that little dopamine rush, like, hey, that's another point, that's another step in what we're trying to achieve. Now imagine you do those little dopamine hits in a competition as you're moving along. What's the endorphin? When is the endorphin release? What's the big joy that we would get in competition?
When we win.
Win. Or when you're at the end of a tournament and you've won your medal, right? Those are those big joys. That's the endorphin rush. It's not the little ones of the dopamine. So winning competition, that's the positive drivers, but it's balanced out by the stressors, right? So the stressors are the ones where we're concerned about, you know, we make a mistake, cortisol release, fear, right? Stress. And then it's like, you know, so it's a balancing act. So how do you think, so in regards to balancing it out, and this is why single players can have a big impact on the mindset and attitude of a team, is that when someone puts a tremendous level of effort in, right, succeed or fail, right, is that something that's celebrated? Is it a dopamine rush, or is it something that's a stressor or a fear?
Like the other people?
No, you're someone on your team. Someone in your team puts tremendous effort into making a play.
So-
Do you guys get excited about the effort?
Yeah.
Or do you guys get stressed about the level of effort? Succeed or fail?
Excited.
Excited, right? Excited. Succeed or fail, we still get excited about the level of effort, right? That level of effort from one player, if everyone gets excited about that level of effort, it actually raises our joy, dopamine response in regards to achieving our goal. Hey, if we continue to work that hard, we're getting closer to what we're aiming for, okay? If someone lacks effort and fails, is that a stressor or a positive thing? Stressor, right? So what I guess the easiest thing I want people to understand is that individual behavior influences a group because it's infectious, okay? So for example, is I know what you guys are capable of. I've watched the videos, I've watched a lot of the tournaments, I've rewatched all the videos from Center Hastings, I've watched the Kingston games, I've watched all the games from the OVA, and I saw the difference between how you guys are when you're infectious, you're positive, you're happy, you're loose, and when you're stressed. And that's why a large part of community is important for this team. Is that, remember how I said at the beginning of the year, I selected everyone based upon their personalities, right? And with that in mind, is that it had to do with fitting into the community so that everyone could feel safe, right? And I want everyone to understand that, because it's more important to feel safe, because if you feel safe in the community of the people around you, is what it does. It allows you to, A, make mistakes without fear of repercussions, so that there's no fear of being excluded from the community. You try and achieve things as a group. You're a part of that community achieving the goal. So when you work hard, it's all those little dopamine hits, right? I'll give an example. When I go to Naran or Addy when they were learning how to serve, right? You were struggling, you were stressed, right? You can see their stress. They were like, oh my God, this is so stressful. Right, Trinity?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so stressful. But small steps, right? When you make your serves, high five, right? You're getting it right. They smile, they're happy, right? Progress, small little periods of progress. You have to celebrate the small little things in corrections. You have to take the feedback in corrections, because when you achieve those corrections, it's a positive thing and you have to celebrate it. Don't focus on the stressors. Don't focus on the result, focus on the effort. That's your dopamine hits. We're gonna get to the big endorphin rush. This team is good enough to get to the big endorphin rush. We are going to be successful as a team. I know it 100% because of the community of players we have here. So I just want everyone to understand that, you know, every single person here as an individual can be infectious in a positive way. A smile, a hug, you know, a little bit extra effort during a match and during a game. When things are not going well, remember, it's safety, security. It's about circling together as a group, as a community, to let everyone know they're safe. And then set our targets, set our next goals on the next things.
And smile.
And smile. Like, I remember one of the very first groups I had, and it's funny how different groups are resistant to all these little things, is that I remember like I would call timeouts for my group because they were younger athletes and they would get really stressed in competition. And I would call timeouts and the whole goal was to smile nonstop for 30 seconds, like literally. And you guys may think it's funny, but there's a feedback loop with physical actions and your actual hormonal release, your endorphin release, is that everyone do this. Make yourself big.
Bravo.
Make yourselves big. Katie, make yourselves big. Hands up here. Hands up here. So did you know that this is an expression of confidence? This is taking up space. Did you know that blind people from birth that have never opened their eye, never seen this behavior in their lives, when they compete in competition, and they win in competition, never having seen this behavior, did you know that their response is this? They've never seen this behavior. It's an inherent response of joy and confidence. So, other parts of behavior equate changing. Smiling, right, releases positive hormones. Even if you're unhappy, it is something that is, if you smile at a teammate or you force a smile to yourself, it actually reverses and actually reduces stress, right? So that's why it's really important to smile, you know, and shake off. So shaking off, everyone shake your hands out a little bit, right? So what happens when you're stressed, right? What happens when you're stressed? What happens to your body when you're stressed?
You get all tense.
You get tense, right? So your physical response is tension. Do we want tension in volleyball?
No.
Right? We don't want tension in volleyball. A lot of volleyball mechanics require loose, relaxed muscles because everything explosive movements has to do with elasticity. It has to do with being quick to respond. Tension, you're not quick, right? That's why you see sprinters getting ready for races. They're shaking their legs and they're shaking their arms and they're shaking their bodies and everything else, right? It may seem silly, but if you feel yourself stressed, one of the things you can do to relieve your stress is actually to smile and just shake, right? Shake, release all that tension. The actual physical action actually reduces the hormonal response of cortisol and stress. And the same thing with box breathing, right? What happens with box breathing is your nerves are firing really fast, right? Because you're under stress and your body is like in fear or flight mode. So when your body's in fear or flight mode is that you're releasing all kinds of negative hormones. And what box breathing does is it reduces the firing of those nerves. So box breathing, settle myself down, a smile, a shake, right? And now you can start thinking again in regards to what you need to do on the next play, in understanding that, hey, I've reduced my stress. So Julia, who's next to me, hey Julia, how's it going? Like, let's shake together, let's shake this out. Okay, let's get ready to go. Let's get ready for the next one, right? That interaction, now I'm being infectious to Julia. Julia's gonna turn to Katie, smile at Katie. Hey, Katie, open up. Let's go. Let's go. You shake it out. right? And all this can be done literally in about 6 seconds. After a play is done, you know, succeed or fail, little bit of stress in the environment, you know, it's getting tight, it's getting near the end of a match, it's like final serve in a really tense, you know, 32-30 game.
The Vikings game.
Yeah, the Vikings game, you know, or you're down by a few and you gotta fight back, which I've seen you guys do many a time, is that's literally how you gain an advantage and how you create the joy in the game, right? And that's really, I just want to emphasize that that's really important. And it's not just in competition, it's in practice as well. And that's a big thing. So, let me ask you a question. Let me circle back to the very, very beginning. As I asked you guys, do you think there is a different level of stress for Olympic athletes and you guys? What were your answers? What did you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's a trick question, but I don't know.
Katie, tell me. Tell me what you think.
No,
Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
I don't know.
You do know. You have a gut. You have an opinion. Katie, go. Tell me what you think. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. Go ahead.
I feel like they have more stress because
Okay.
of like.
That you feel they have more stress.
I say yes and no. Yes, because like younger players on the team, like they have bigger teams, and like if they're younger, sometimes they don't play as much, and they have the stress on themselves to like be better so they can get court time. And like the people that do like have like first line and they have their spot, they also have like stress and pressure because they have to stay the best and not let anyone catch up to them.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead. Anyone else? Narayan, what do you think? Yeah.
I feel like Olympic athletes probably have a little bit more stress just because like when they're older, like there's more pressure on them to be good. They have to like represent their family. They have to look good for their teammates. They have to like just prove to their coaches that they made the right decision in choosing them at such a high level. And then, but when we're younger, it's like we have kind of not necessarily more freedom, but more room to work and like actually like improve on our skills.
Okay. Anyone else? You already.
But I have a no. I have a reason why no. I said yes, but now I say, and I also have a reason for no.
Okay.
I say no because we both are playing volleyball. We're both chosen by coaches. We both have teammates. We both are playing competitive volleyball, and we're both being watched. We're both practicing in a gym.
I feel like though, like it's a job once you get to that level, and it's not just stay on that team because you want to be good for everyone else. It's you have the worry of you need to be good to keep that spot, not just for like you want to play volleyball, but it's because it's your job and you're like.
Okay, what do you think?
I'm gonna say no because it's like kind of what Trinity said. It's like their job and it's kind of like pressure because it's.
No, as in there's no difference, or yes?
Oh
as in
wait,
there's-
yes, it is different.
I was gonna say,
That's what I meant.
Okay.
And like they have to represent their country in like that sport, and we are like kind of like. It's more like an option. I guess it's an option for them too, but like more of an option for us, and like. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Ruby? Elsa? Mallory?
It's the answer is
They
no.
probably have like similar stress levels, but
And
they know how to manage it better.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Ruby? Elsa? No? Elsa?
I feel like there is a difference because like it's a big role to take on, and I feel like for us like it's still like a big job to like commit to, but like when you're older I feel like it's just like more important to like stay on that team and just like stay committed.
Addie? Let me get Addie's first. And then I'll come back to you.
I feel like they have more stress, but I feel like we create our own stress. Like I feel like we probably like overthink it more than they do.
Okay. So let me give you my thoughts on this, and this is just my opinion. Is to me, the level of stress that you create, whether it be an Olympic athlete or a club athlete or someone playing for their school, has to do with what value you attribute to where you are, where you're at. The stressors are kind of like Lily was indicating, are similar. You both have to compete for your spots. You're both in a competitive environment. You both have people around you in your environments. So those stressors are pretty much the same, because I would hazard a guess that, remember, it's not only within the team. Olympic athletes and youth athletes, you have external pressures as well. So you have your peers in your school, you have people that you know in the different clubs, you've got your coaches, you've got your other coaches in the other age groups, you've got your other teams looking at you. So it's very much the same, I think, from a social aspect in regards to where the stressors come from. Performance-wise, they've been training their whole life. There is the added aspect is some of them, they need their sport to support their well-being, but most Olympic athletes, that's not the case, in the sense that, they have actually most Olympic athletes in Canada actually have full-time jobs in addition to that, right? But you're right, is that it's something they love to do, and they receive sponsorships and their time away from their families, and there's different aspects to it that they have to deal with. But there's the social, it's just a different type of social pressure. So my argument would be, is that Olympic athletes and you guys as athletes are dealing with the same stressors. It's in a different scale, right? Playing for your country, playing for your club, playing for your family, whatever it is. It's just a different scale, but it's the same stressors. Now, I'm gonna tell you where you guys are at a disadvantage, is that Olympic sports and high-level sports have evolved. They typically have huge teams of people. They have mental health coaches, they have mental prep coaches. They are fully committed to it 100% of the time. Where they have teams of people around them to help them, right, a lot of the time. You guys only have yourselves and a small team of coaches who aren't experts in all these areas, and you guys aren't 100% committed because you guys have other responsibilities. You've got school stresses, families, jobs. You've got all these other things going on. So in essence, it's the same stressors with less support. Now, that being said, there's still support, right? Because you're at a different level, a different scale. So the way to manage that is, and I want to emphasize this a lot, is your support is here. Your support is with each other. Your support is those small things. It's the smiles, it's the hugs, it's the enjoyment, not fear of reprisal for level of effort, for execution. Obviously, we want to succeed as a team, but we're all trying our best. And I think as long as you're trying your best, and you keep that as your baseline of expectations, you can then insulate yourself potentially from your own expectations on what comes out of this all. Concentrate on the enjoyment and the joy of the game and supporting one another, and you'll find that a lot of the external pressures, if you learn to focus on this group and not the external pressures, you'll find that it's a lot easier to manage. Right? We try our best. We try our best, and that's why I try to give you all these guys these little things. But like us, we have full-time jobs, we have families. We are committed to this group. We have limited time as well, and we're doing the best we can. But the other part of the equation is you guys with each other. So just want to talk about where control is that we hear the stories online about Olympic athletes who, quote unquote, I'll use quotes around this, failed right? We saw it with the Blue Jays, with IKF, the guy that tried to run home, right, was out by a couple of inches. We saw all the online stuff about the negativity towards that. That happens with them, but it also happens with you guys too, right? True? Right? So one thing that I will emphasize this to the fullest of my capacity is that you have to ignore that, block it, stay out of it. Because I know for a fact it's something that you can't control, what other people say, what other people give opinion. And it's a lot, I mean, back in the old days when we didn't have phones and stuff like that, it was easier to basically protect you guys from the negativity from others. Because we'd say, like we used to tell our kids, you know, don't hang out with the wrong crowd, right? But nowadays, the wrong crowd has access to you guys. So if you're encountering that kind of stuff, I want you guys to circle the wagons as a group and only talk positively about others, as in we have to express positivity outwards and internal to our group. I never like to hear anything negative coming out of my group of players, regardless of what is said by other external people. Once again, why? Because remember the basics of fear? It has to do with belonging, safety, security, right? Those things erode that feeling of safety, right? As in, I'm not for some reason, it's like a pseudo community. It's an external community that's pushing you out when you're not really a part of them, right? But your same primal response is the same. So for example, if someone says something negative about your team or your individual, you know, we're in the bigger community is the volleyball community, right? That's the big community, right? So you feel that you're being pushed out of the big community or the Ottawa volleyball community and stuff like that. So your response is still the same as those smaller communities. But understand that this is your community and everything else is external. And that's how you kind of protect yourself from that stuff. So, but I just want to emphasize a lot, very much so. I do not want us expressing anything negative outwards, and I don't think we would, but I just want to emphasize this. And don't worry about what other people express it towards us. We are our own group, we are our own community, and we're safe within this community. You know, and if you feel that it's something that's, you know, something that needs to be discussed or talked about, then we'll have a meeting like this, and we'll sit together as a team and talk about it, get it out in the open, and then manage it, right? Can't control other people's behavior, but we can control how we respond to it. Good?
Yeah.
Does everyone kind of understand the concepts? You know, smiles, hugs, right? Big postures, confidence, right, Julia?
Mm-hmm.
A big blocking, right, Ryan? We're blocking everyone. This is when we block big, right? We shake it all out when we're stressed, smile at each other. And I want everyone to understand the other part about this is expectations. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now as coaches, and I think, you know, let you guys speak for yourselves, but I will tell you right now is that win or lose in any match is acceptable as long as you guys are competing and enjoying it. It's even enjoying it, because if you enjoy it, the effort will come, right? Mark? Yeah. Camilla, do you guys enjoy playing even though you may have a good or bad season?
Yeah, we love playing. I mean, if we didn't, we'd drop out of the team, so
Yeah.
we're not obligated to put that much time into the team, but we do.
Yeah.
I think your stress levels, right? Your stress levels are highly related to your preparation, right? Think of it like a school test. The more prepared you are for a school test, you're gonna go in at less stress, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't studied, you're gonna go in with more stress. So the little things you do every day in practice to prepare will help you be less stressed in those situations.
But even if you, but here's, I mean, I actually like the tone of our practice today and the I like our practices over the last couple of weeks, been a lot better. We had to go through some mechanical fixes, so that's why we stepped back a little bit. But we're gonna continue practicing like we did today. We're gonna continue to work on tempo, serving, serve, receive. I have confidence in all of us now. Our serving is heading in the right direction. You know, and our serve receive is heading in the right direction. And I honestly, even if you, this is where the danger is you only prep as much as you can prep, put the work in at practice. When it comes to competition, don't worry about it. You prep the best you can. Enjoy playing, enjoy the experience. It's like I always used to think of the competitions are. Yes, do we want to play Div 1?
Yeah.
We do, right?
I switched it out.
But Div 1 is a result of practice. It's a result of enjoying playing, putting the effort in. And it's something we can or can't control, right? All we can control is the level of effort we put into play. But the most important thing is if we enjoy playing, we're more likely to get there, right? And I want everyone to keep that in mind. But you prep as much as you can. So we're in competition. Competitions are a celebration. It's supposed to be fun, okay? So keep that in mind. I'm gonna post the video so that you guys can watch it again if you want to go over the stuff. And I will see you guys in the gym on Tuesday. We got about 5 practices left before our next tournament. So lots of good work.